forget what our dream is. I'm sick of your rules and your reasons.
I think I would want to be one of those artists that have had an impact in the society and have been an inspiration or, an influence, a good influence. I think, like how in the past we used to look up to our idols and, we used to look up to certain artists, and we used to really sort of believe that if they can make it, so can we. And they used to provide us with those sort of, great advices and great work ethics as well. So I think that would be my goal, just to have a great work ethic and keep my, values and morals intact, and just keep becoming an inspiration to the youth that is out there. Because like I said, the world's changing and it's, getting crazier.
Well, welcome to the podcast today. Our special guest is Shannon K. Shannon, you're talking to me from LA today, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Awesome. And Shannon was introduced to me by a friend of mine that said, "Hey, you got to interview this amazing person. She's got a single coming out, and she's done all these cool projects." And as I've researched you, Shannon, you've done a whole variety of TV, film, a lot of really fun music projects over the years. But what intrigued me was, as I learned a little bit more about your background, you come from India, so you were born there, correct?
Yes.
And your dad is for I think Americans, a lot of us would call it kind of a ghost singer, somebody who sings the songs that are on TV and film, but isn't really the person singing. So somebody else, the actors on screen, that's lip singing to those songs as well. So I mean, the word for that, what do they call that again?
It's called playback singing.
Playback singing. There we go. Okay. So anyway, I was intrigued, but so his name's Kumar Sanu, which he's done thousands and thousands of songs, which is incredible. So tell us a little bit. Let's maybe like rewind all the way back to your story of being in India, but being around music a lot. I mean, share your story, how you got to where you are today, and then let's chat a little bit more.
It's a long story, but I'll make it short. I was born in India and raised in London. And I would say music has always been around me since day one. I remember, going down with my dad at his like recording sessions and just admiring him. And, I always knew that I wanted to kind of like, be like him and, be able to like perform and sing and do all this like amazing stuff that he does. And I think, that's how like, the interest kind of grew from there basically. And he's been my, guru and inspiration. So later on, I, moved on to like listening to artists like Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Celine Dion. And I got my training from Royal Music of London. So I've been doing all of that. And then I came down here in LA, got this amazing opportunity to work with Pooh Bear for my debut single, A Long Time, back in 2018. And that was a huge hit. A lot of people loved it. And I was, I think that was like the beginning of my, musical journey. So yeah.
Well, that's amazing. I think Pooh Bear, for those that don't know, I think he's done some collaborations with Justin Bieber over the years, and he's done some really fun projects. But talk to me a little bit about the studio time. When do you remember first going into the studio with your dad? I mean, how old were you when you remember that?
Oh my Lord, I was like, I was pretty young, but I knew that I knew what he does, and I loved the whole like environment and, like I said, the vibe. And I remembered that I just kind of wanted to be in that, in that zone. And I would always like ask or plead my dad, like, "Oh, please take me there. Take me with you to your recording sessions. I won't like, make any noise, or and I'll be like super quiet." I just loved the process, the whole like instruments that would be there and the gadgets and everything, and him going to the like recording booth and singing into the mic and everything. So everything really fascinated me a lot. So yeah.
Gotcha. So did he ever pull you in to come help him on any projects that he was doing ever? Or when was the kind of the first project you got to do a studio environment for real?
Together it was like, when I think he sort of realized that I do have the talent and capability of it. Before it was just casual, him just being a father, he was just a great support for me and everything. And I think I remember when I told him that I wanted to make a career in music out here. So he was very, very happy about it. But, as a father and as an huge artist, he had a lot of great advices, and he made sure that I knew what I was getting myself into. So yeah, and I think that my motto was also to just make him proud and do good and be on the right path all the time. So yeah, the first like collaboration that we did together was a while ago. I think it was back in like, can't remember, like 2015, 16. Yeah, I was pretty young and I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I won't be able to do this. Because he is so amazing. He gets down the song like in, split second, and he would be done with his recording in like maximum half an hour. Whereas I would just like have to get into my zone. I would have to like, understand what the song is about and everything. But yeah, this it was just a very beautiful experience. It was like a father and daughter kind of vibe going on, and yeah, it was like a great learning experience for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm curious. I want your thoughts on this, but you mentioned that he gave you some advice for kind of finding success in the music business. I'm curious, what are the, what specific things do you remember from that advice as he was trying to help you on your way when you were younger?
Well, the first thing he said, like, this is gonna be my own battle. He's not gonna be the one like trying to help me or, you know, be like a cheat sheet kind of thing. He's like, you were the one who decided to get into it. Therefore, you should go out there, explore, and face all kinds of situations and experiences, including rejection. So that way you'd be able to value the things that you have and the things that you're going to later on achieve. And I think those were very impactful words. And also he kind of just told me the power of music and how music can heal people and how it has, the power to change certain things, that are in the society that we probably want to raise, certain awareness towards and stuff. So he always told me not to take music so lightly as some artists do. He said he always told me to like, make music for a reason, for a purpose. Whatever is it that you want to talk about or write about, make sure that it's impactful and it either heals people or it brings a change to the community or to the society. And so I think those were some really great advice. And last but not the least, he said to, always be down to earth and never let the success kind of overflow, who you are, and don't try to change yourself, because in this journey, you would probably get influenced by a lot of people, by, the society again, by the stereotypes or by people who would want you to fit into a certain category. So just be authentic, be true to yourself, and, work as if you're in a marathon, not in a race, because success, there are different definitions of success. So just know what is your definition of success. Some people think that, just kind of like getting that 5-minute fame is what they want. And others are more of like, going in that circle and just keep going until they're satisfied with what is it that they have created, and also the kind of feedbacks that they get. So yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic advice. I find it interesting. I'm curious. So you've been part of music videos that have had tens of millions of views. I think when I checked, the one you did with Pooh Bear, it had over 40 million views, which is amazing on YouTube.
Thank
So
you.
congratulations for that. But I'm curious, as you look back on, maybe that one and then others that you have done, what would you say was kind of if somebody's like, oh, I want to get, millions of, a million views on my YouTube videos, what advice would you have to that artist that's, has that goal or dream? What things would you advise somebody to at least kind of consider as they're working towards that goal?
Um, to be honest, I have no idea. I have no idea what people, like these days, what they're into. And really, I had no expectations of myself as well. Like with the contents that I kind of created in terms of like, will I even get to the charts? Will it be popular? Will I get this many numbers? I think it's all about, again, being authentic, being relevant, with people, and just having that heart to heart communication, if that makes sense. Like use music, use your words as a language, as a communication, way to reach out to the audience, and give them a little sneak peek of who you are. So I think that's how I would say I would give an advice to somebody who has that kind of a, goal.
I think that's awesome advice. I think a lot of people, place all the success on. I mean, they sometimes, like you mentioned this earlier, but people try to become this other person, or think they need to be something else in
Mhm.
order to be the success or to have the millions of views. And I think the longer I've been in this game, the more you realize, be you, and just own it. And people will actually appreciate and be more. I think people are very forgiving, but I think people want to see the real person. And it's interesting as you talk about, you don't know how did you get 40 million views on that YouTube video? One, it was really good. I'm sure that played a big part in it, but I think you went into it, and I didn't hear you once say, I wanted to have millions of views. It was more of I wanted to help, or wanted to share and be, have that impact. And I think not caring maybe about the end result, whether it was 100 people that saw it or 40 million people that saw it, I think that probably is one of the big reasons for that success is you're not living and dying like, I have to have this in order to be successful. And I think people really appreciate that. So I know you've got a single coming out, that's coming out really soon. Probably by the time somebody's listening to this, it will have just come out. But I'm intrigued by that story. So it's kind of a tribute song. Tell a little bit about that song and how that came about.
So the song's called Jimmy Jimmy, and it's a iconic Bollywood song from the 80s. And the original, composer of this song, unfortunately passed away last year. And I was very close to his family, and it was one of my, dreams to work with him, on one of his projects and everything. And it was such a beautiful experience because I had met him during his birthday celebration, right before his demise. And we had a wonderful chat together, and he had like blessed me and promised me to work together. And unfortunately, we lost him too soon, and I was very, upset. But fortunately, we had his son, who resides here in LA. He decided to do a reprised version of the iconic song, as a little tribute. And yeah, I hopped in because I wanted to also be a part of this amazing, tribute. And we kept the authenticity, we kept like the, original core and vibe to it, and we just added a little bit of sprinkles of like the modern, essence. But really sort of we kind of went back in time. And even like the music video itself, like the visuals, we kept a very like 80s style disco, so you'd be seeing a lot of like glitters and sequences, and maybe a disco ball and all that kind of crazy fun stuff. So yeah, overall it was like a fun experience for me.
That's amazing. Oh, and then I'm sure it kind of felt good to be able to be part of that, even though, I mean, I'm sure he was, you know, that feeling that you hoped that you had would probably, you got a little bit of that fulfillment in knowing that you helped on that project. So I'm excited to hear it. It's going to be awesome to see that come to fruition. I'm curious, as you, if you were to rewind, or let's just say you could rewind the clock back and go and give your younger self some advice. So let's say maybe 10 years ago, 8, 10 years ago, when you were just barely starting to get into the business, what advice would you have for yourself if you could go and talk to that younger version of you for, a couple minutes of conversation?
There would be a lot of advices. But I think most of it I would say to my younger self, just, keep believing in yourself, don't give up, don't waste time by just sort of sitting around. And just enjoy the moment that you're living in. I think that was like something that I've never really done because I'm always so concerned about like the future or, what should be the next steps, or just in my mind that I don't get to really live and enjoy the moments. So I would definitely advise my younger self, and also to take up every single opportunity that comes in my way, regardless of like how big, how small, or how irrelevant it may be, because at the end, it will all make sense. I think as artists, like, the most amazing thing is that we can literally like give ourselves so many multiple roles, without even thinking. We can hop into like different categories. It may not make sense, while you're doing it, but later on it will definitely do make sense. So that's what I would say, be optimistic, stay positive, and everything will come true.
That's awesome. But I think the more, I love your advice about, take those opportunities when they do come in front of you, even if they're, they may not seem like a big deal. And it might be just some little thing. And it's funny how sometimes that person you met on the project, or the somebody maybe heard, whether it was a movie, whether it was a song, or maybe it was just, maybe nothing ever came from it, but you probably, in working with other people on projects, those collaborations and relationships turn into, somebody that introduced you to another person, that then maybe that's your big break, or the thing that catapults you to the next level. And
Exactly.
I see some people that, and I think your advice about, living in that moment and enjoying it, oftentimes, I mean, that really, that journey as we're going there is really what the enjoyable part is, because we never know when it is going to, like your friend, he's gone now, and he maybe thought he had another 10, 20 years, but living like this might be the last thing I do, and putting that effort and the heart and the emotion into everything we do really goes a long ways. Yeah, no, that's fantastic advice. What and kind of as a final question, I mean, you've got all this really exciting stuff and people need to go check it out, but what's your hope long term, let's say 10 years or 20 years in the future now? I mean, what do you hope people will think of when they say, "Oh, Shannon was this, or she accomplished this"? What are those hopes that you hope that people are left with, that impression of what difference you made in the world, I guess?
I think I would want to be one of those artists that have had an impact in the society and have been an inspiration, or, an influence, a good influence. I think, like how in the past we used to look up to our idols, and, we used to look up to certain artists, and we used to really sort of, believe that if they can make it, so can we. And they used to provide us with those sort of great advices and great work ethics as well. So I think that would be my goal, just to have a great work ethic and keep my values and morals intact, and just keep becoming an inspiration to the youth that is out there, because like I said, the world's changing and it's getting crazier. So I think we just got to keep true to ourselves, and just be sure that if you are an artist, or whatever you are, like if you're a creator, you should know that you have certain type of responsibility to and you have eyes on yourself, which means that whatever it is that you create, through your content, it should definitely make a change or influence people. Even if you don't, make it in that sense, it would still influence those people who love you or who want to watch you do your thing. So just, have that in the back of my mind, which I always do. So I just hope that I'm, an inspiration to a lot of people.
I love that you said that you want to maintain those ethics and morals. And I think, the fact that you realize there's probably thousands or hundreds, maybe there's tens of thousands of little girls out there watching you and looking up to you. I had a conversation with Rick Barker, who was Taylor Swift's manager for the first several years of her career. And it was, when I was chatting with him, it was interesting to just hear how important being a good influence on these girls that were all Taylor knew they were people looking up to her, and how critical and important that was. And I think that's literally been a key thing in her success, is people know that they can depend on her and have that expectation that she's a good person. And I love that you said, you're saying the same thing. And I think that will, I think for any artist out there, as you're trying to decide, who is it you want to be, not kind of becoming, again, trying to become somebody you're not, but also knowing that, man, there's, and I think for me, I had that realization as I started to have kids, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's this little human being that's watching everything I do, and they're going to copy, what I do, good and bad. And they're gonna, they might hang that over my head for the next 50 years, when, we'll be at, family dinner, and they'll be like, Dad, you remember that thing? So, but I love, I think, especially when you get into that public eye, I think we do need more examples out there that want to be a good example and want to see people be good human beings. I see with all of the, you've got the news and the social media, and it seems like everybody's trying to push you to make a decision and join a side, or be. But the thing that's interesting is when I talk to people, no matter what they believe, politics, religion, whatever it might be, almost everybody's pretty much just be a good human being, and we get along, and we probably agree on a whole lot more things than the news wants us to believe about. Right. So I think, I love that that's so important to you, and that's going to serve you well. So I congratulate you for that. So Shannon, if people want to go, we definitely need to go check out this new album or the song that she's doing, but you've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff on your YouTube channel. What should they go look for, and where do they find out more about you?
You can definitely find my music on YouTube and Spotify. It's all out there. And you can just get to, know me a bit more through my music, and to find, my latest updates or what I'm up to, what I'm working on. You can definitely find all of that great stuff on my Instagram, which is Shannon K Singer. So don't forget to give a follow, and, just tune in and see what I'm up to.
Awesome. Well, Shannon, thanks so much for spending time today and sharing this just incredible advice with people. I think we need to have more people that have this attitude you've shared with us today. It'll bring a lot of happiness and fulfillment, and when people do focus on those things like you've shared. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a great chatting with you, and I'm so glad that you really kind of gave me the platform and the space to really talk about certain things. And I love what you're doing, and I hope that you continue to do so.
Thanks so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Hey, it's Jason here, and I hope you've gotten a lot of value out of this episode. Be sure to check out our show notes to learn more about our guest today, and if you'd like to support our podcast, there's a few things that you can do to help us grow. First, if you hit subscribe, it will help ensure that you don't miss a future episode. Second, if you'll share it with your friends on social media or send it via email or message, it helps us spread the word as well. And third, if you'll leave an honest review, it really helps with the algorithms so that other people can find our podcast. Finding success and fulfillment in the music industry is possible, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.